My breath hitched in my throat, freezing into a tight, suffocating knot. His large, calloused hand didn't just brush against me, it landed squarely on my chest, his long fingers wrapping firmly over the soft curve of my breast through the thin fabric of my V-neck shirt. The heat radiating from his palm was instantaneous, searing through the cotton and straight into my skin. I was paralyzed. My mind screamed at me to push him away, to feign a sudden awakening, to roll back over and apologize for the train's violent lurch. I should have scrambled away from my cousin's boyfriend. But my body, my broken, addicted, desperate body, refused to obey. People who don't suffer from sex addiction think it's just a high libido. They think it's a punchline. They don't understand the crushing, suffocating weight of it. They don't know what it's like to have your brain completely rewired, turning you into a slave for dopamine, making you crave release so deeply that your morals begin to blur and fracture. For years, I had isolated myself, burying my head in work, avoiding men, terrified of what I might do if I let my guard down. And now, here I was trapped in a narrow train bunk, the physical embodiment of my deepest, darkest fantasies pressed against me. My hand was still instinctively clutching his groin. Beneath the fabric of his gray shorts, he was rock hard, pulsing with a heavy rhythmic heat. He was so thick my fingers barely wrapped halfway around him. Instead of pulling away, Marcus slowly, deliberately squeezed my breast. His thumb dragged across the center, finding my nipple, which had already pebbled into a hard, aching point. A muffled, broken whimper slipped past my lips. I bit down on my tongue so hard I tasted the sharp, metallic tang of copper, desperately trying to keep the sound from waking Lily. Lily. She was lying right behind me, her back a mere inch from mine. I could hear the slow, rhythmic sound of her breathing over the clacking of the train tracks. The sheer proximity of her, the absolute betrayal of what was happening, should have been a bucket of ice water. Instead, the taboo danger of it acted like gasoline poured over an open flame. The train swayed again. Click-clack, click-clack. With every sway, the friction between our bodies intensified. Marcus shifted his hips forward, pressing his massive erection deeper into my palm. I subconsciously tightened my grip, a shudder of pure electricity running up my arm. He leaned his head down, his face burying into the crook of my neck. His breath was hot and ragged against my skin. "You're awake, aren't you, Claire?" he whispered. His voice was a low, gravelly rumble that sent violent shivers straight down to my core. It wasn't a question. It was a statement. He knew. I didn't answer. I squeezed my eyes shut tighter, as if staying in the dark could somehow protect me from the reality of what I was doing. "Your heart is beating so fast," he murmured, his lips brushing against my earlobe. "It's fluttering like a trapped bird." He shifted his hand, sliding it up from my breast to cut my cheek. The movement was surprisingly tender. For all his brute strength, for all the raw, masculine aggression I had witnessed from the hallway earlier, his touch was incredibly gentle. He brushed a strand of sweaty hair away from my face. That simple, tender gesture broke something open inside me. I slowly opened my eyes. In the dim, ambient light of the sleeper car, his dark eyes were locked onto mine. I expected to see crude lust, maybe even arrogance, but what I saw instead stripped me bare. There was desire, yes, dark and consuming, but there was also a quiet, intense understanding. He was looking at me like he saw right through my carefully constructed facade. "Why do you look so sad, Claire?" he breathed, his thumb gently tracing the curve of my cheekbone. A single, hot tear slipped out of the corner of my eye, tracing a path down to the pillow. I hadn't realized I was crying. I had been fighting this invisible demon alone for so long, drowning in shame, feeling dirty and broken. Lily had a perfect life, a perfect body, a perfect man who worshipped her. I was just a flawed, lonely cousin who tagged along out of pity. "I'm broken," I mouthed silently in the dark, unable to voice my deepest, ugliest shame aloud. Marcus's gaze softened. He didn't judge me. He didn't push me away. He didn't treat me like a monster. Instead, he pulled me a fraction closer,